So, conspiracy theories have been unfortunately taking over many of the minds of people in the United States of America. And definitely the most popular conspiracy theory of those kinds is a conspiracy theory under the name of QAnon. It is a conspiracy that has been propagated by many conservative members of this nation, very popular among the Republican Party, and it is unfortunately really toxic and has just been corrupting and rotting the brains of millions of people in this nation. And we're actually here with a story today from someone posting in the subreddit QAnon Casualties, which is a pretty big subreddit where people talk about their family members falling into this conspiracy theory. What we're talking about today comes from a 14-year-old posting in that subreddit about how they lost their family, good portions of them, to QAnon. So let's read through. My sister, 15, and brother, 11, falling down the pipeline. I, 14 male, am a freshman in high school, and I have an older sister who is 15 and a brother who is 11. Some context on my family is important. My parents had my sister when they were 17, they finished high school, and they both spent a few years raising my sister and I with help from our grandparents. Dad works at his dad/my grandpa's company, and mom is still a stay-at-home mom. My grandparents are loaded and taught my dad through online business classes, but he doesn't have a degree. My grandparents have spoiled us all of our lives. We all go to a pretty good school in a rich area. My grandparents on both sides of my family are pretty centrist. They voted for Biden, but also voted for some Republicans in recent years. My parents don't vote and know nothing or close to nothing about politics. Sorry about that. I don't care much about politics too much, but do care about sticking up for my friend who's trans and supporting BLM. Sometimes my friends will send political TikToks to me, but they've only recently became political. A lot of them have to do with sports and politics, and my friends are mostly from baseball, I cannot speak, and they're all pretty liberal. We do live in a very white, pretty centrist, maybe slightly red/Republican area, though. It's kind of funny because most of my friends have really conservative parents, but have become more liberal, especially because of our friend who is trans. I don't talk to my sister and brother as much as we have pretty different interests, as I mentioned. I like sports and spend most of my time focused on that. My sister and brother are nerds. I mean this in the nicest way possible and no hate to them. They just like science, anime, trivia, and all that stuff. The issue is, something I've noticed in our high school, most of the nerdy students are boys and many are friends with my sister. They are also the biggest bigots in my classes. I've heard some of my sister's freshman friends in history class try to defend horrible things like what we did to the natives or to other groups. Like I said, I'm not into politics much, but this makes me feel weird. They've also made some really sexist remarks when talking about women in history and quote Andrew Tate, Sneeko, and Andrew Ross. Not Andrew, and Aiden Ross. I got Andrew and Aiden mixed up. I know my girlfriend says these types of boys make her uncomfortable, and that makes me mad at these because I love her. As I said, a lot of these boys are friends with my sister, and I know they send her TikToks. She started making some remarks a few months ago that annoyed me. She was telling me that people like my trans friend were faking it and saying other bigoted things. She also started to use slurs. My brother has also had the same thing happen to him with his friends. He's in a friend group of socially awkward boys. That's a big one. They all love Tate and others, etc. I know my sister and brother are close, and I've seen them share some TikToks. They've also started to mention Q and JFK and all this crazy stuff, talking about vaccines, saying Helen Keller didn't exist, all this crazy nonsense. I still have no idea what they're talking about, but I looked it up because I thought it was interesting, but it made no sense to me. Then I found this place, and now I see they are in a crazy cult. My parents don't seem to care. When I bring it up, they say politics are stupid and that people can believe what they want, but we aren't becoming political. They say that my siblings can believe whatever they want, just like I can. My grandparents also don't care. And like I said, they spoil us and will buy my siblings merch for the people they watch. It's so embarrassing to know my brother has worn an Andrew Tate shirt to school, and he's only in 6th grade. I've had them, but a few... Okay, that's a weird sentence. I have had them, but a few things that my friends wanted that were for liberal politicians. Okay. I also worry that they'll do something hurtful to themselves, as I know they've talked about stuff they've seen online as cures for various things that are not doctors, medicine, or something like that. I love my siblings and just want them to be normal. I don't care if we disagree on most things, but it's scary when they're pushing wild conspiracies, including stuff like medical conspiracies. It also hurts when they make transphobic comments because the trans guy I'm friends with is such an awesome guy, and me and my other friends all love him. We're also kind of protected over him. We don't want to defend him from all the people who don't like him. We want to defend him from all the people who don't like him. Okay. I still don't really get what this whole Q thing is about, but from what I've seen on YouTube and TikTok, it seems like it's just a bunch of lunatics who need to get mental help. I don't know what to do. That's bad. That's bad. 6th grade, they sell shirts for people that young? They do, because people like Andrew Tate and Aiden Ross and Sneeko have majority child audiences. We saw this very recently when Sneeko met his audience, and it was like all middle school boys. Their audience is traffic young, so they sell shirts for people in younger people sizes. Yeah, no. This is terrifying. And I'm saying this from experience. It can get better, but it might also get worse. We don't really know the full depth of the situation. We don't know what got them into it. We just know that they watch Andrew Tate, Aiden Ross, Sneeko, and that his older sister, well, his younger brother does, and that his older sister is friends with people who watch that kind of content. And when it gets down to it, it is kind of a 50-50 shot over whether or not they actually get out of it. But the thing that I mostly want to talk about here is just the indoctrination of children into these hyper-conservative thought patterns. You have children watching people like Andrew Tate. Why is someone who is in 6th grade, someone who's fresh out of elementary school, an 11-year-old child watching people like Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate, a man who primarily talks about sex and banging women and being super rich and living a baller lifestyle. Why is a 6th grader watching that kid? Watching that man? Who's a child, in my opinion. Who's a man-child. Why is a kid watching that person? But no, it's the left who's indoctrinating people for saying that, hey, actually, as a matter of fact, we do believe that people should have the freedom to, live life as they choose to live it. But no, we're the ones indoctrinating people, not Andrew Tate, who was actively being investigated for sex trafficking women. Cool. Yeah? Why are kids so young getting so invested into conspiracies such as QAnon? These kids are far off from being able to vote. Like far off from being able to vote. One of these kids isn't going to be able to vote for close to a decade, and is already invested in politics. Yeah? Yeah, Sneeko did also say that he thought that Cuties, the movie that had weird scenes with kids in it, he thought that movie was fine. But that's also another thing about it. Now, these people are watching people who actively have said some pretty weird things about kids as well. Okay? And the issue here too is the lack of input from parents. The parents don't care. Grandparents, I wouldn't expect the grandparents to care as much because they're older. They probably aren't that involved in like internet stuff, and they don't get what necessarily is going on with this internet stuff when it does come to internet politics. So you just think that, oh, these people are like, these kids are just watching, you know, yada 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 on their YouTube. Who cares? But like, the parents don't even care. The parents don't even care. Which is kind of a double-edged sword, because it's probably a good thing that they don't care, because if they cared and they fell into the QAnon rabbit hole, this kid would be entirely alone and unable to do anything about it. But without the parents, he can at least try to argue against it, because he doesn't have the threat of the parents going like, no, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about to him. But this is the pressing. This is the pressing. Yeah, like the Dark Knuck says, the right tells them everything they want to hear and reaffirms it. That's what's going on here. Yeah? There's also a clip of him and some other gross... Oh yeah, there's also the clip of, fucking Sneeko and, some other dude, like, flirting with, I believe, a 15, 16-year-old. Zan showed that on stream recently. But it's, like, ridiculous. It's insane what's going on with these people. Yeah? The fact of the matter is, young boys and people who associate with young boys, like that kid's sister, are being targeted by people like Aiden Ross, are being targeted by people like Sneeko, are being targeted by people like Andrew Tate, who are sucking them into this alt-right pipeline, and it's mostly pretty awkward middle school boys, and I know from experience because I was one of those kind of sort of awkward, like, middle school boys who, yeah, I had a friend group, but, like, our primary means of, like, interaction with each other were, like, edgy jokes and shit. That's what we like to do. Meme culture. And people like Andrew Tate, Sneeko, and Aiden Ross have been able to seep so cleanly into meme culture that it's terrifying what they've been able to do. It's terrifying that due to them being memes, they've been able to influence an entire young generation of boys' political opinions. That's terrifying. And at the end of the day, all we can kind of hope for is that they'll break out of it, like people like me did. I broke out of that kind of thought pattern whenever I was younger. But then again, when I was younger, the people that I were watching were less virulent than people like Andrew Tate and Sneeko. I was watching like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, say what you will about him, he is not rhetorically as bad as someone like Andrew Tate. Ben Shapiro will support his horrible politics in a much more covert way. Andrew Tate doesn't care. He openly brags about the things that he does. And at the end of the day, it's a situation of what will happen to this kid? What will happen to his siblings? Will they be fine? Will they be safe? And there's really not much we can do about it except for hope for the best for him, and hope he gets out of this. But, if y'all do ever just want to do anything to combat this, ask questions. Genuinely. One of the best ways to fight against things like QAnon, to fight against things like these very strong conspiracies, is just to ask questions to get down to the root of the question. To get down to the root of the problem. Because, from Eliza Lee in chat, my brother was joining in on bullying a trans kid in voice chat, and I tried to tell him to stop. My dad stopped me. I'm sorry to hear that. That's horrible. Yeah. But, like, when it gets down to it, the way that you combat these kind of conspiracies is asking simple questions. Like, I'll give you one, yeah? The jab was manufactured to put microbots in everyone. Really? Who did that? The government. Who in the government? The moment you ask who in the government, their brain just it's like, because the fact of the matter is, a lot of these conspiracies rely on big lies. And if you can deconstruct that big lie by trying to break it down into smaller lies, it breaks that conspiracy. Yeah? You can yell at people all you want about them being wrong, but at the end of the day, if someone believes a conspiracy to the point where they're saying it and promoting it as fact, you can't break them out of it unless you break it in their mind. You have to kill that internal logic, because a lot of them have the big baseline facts, but when you try to break it down to a deeper level, they can't meet you there, because they don't know everything. And if they say, well, I don't know that, I don't know everything on this topic, then what you say is, then why are you talking about it? You clearly don't know enough to be talking about it, so why are you talking about it? This, for all you know, could be a lie, and you're just saying it openly and honestly. Like you don't know the internal mechanics of this. Why are you saying this so matter-of-factly? Okay? You have to break these down, because at the end of the day, the only way that you can save people is by trying to lead them back to the light of actual truth, and not whatever they hear on YouTube or Facebook, yada yada yada. Okay? I love you all, and I wish you all luck if you ever have to deal with something like this. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon if you like this video, so that you know whenever I go live, etc. You can also join the Discord down below, talk to me, maybe even debate me on this topic if you'd like, and you can also follow me on Twitter, links down below as well. I love you all, I'll see you on the next video. Stay safe out there. Peace. Gotta hit the stop recording button.